Welcome to the Fourth Down Experience, the podcast devoted to special teams. Your host of the Fourth Down Experience, former pro free agent, 9-year professional kicking coach out of the Midwest, Coach Chris Hughesby. Alongside Coach Chris Hughesby is a former 2-time Arena Bowl champ, 9-year pro kicking coach, repping the South, Coach Brian Jackson.
Hey, what's up, 40 Nation? We are back with our next topic for industry tips. Brian, how you doing?
Good, man. I'm excited to talk about footballs and how you tilt them when you kick and punt. This is going to be a sweet topic. Industry tips have been popping for us on the 40 Nation platforms. We really like that you guys are interacting with this and giving us some really good recommendations. Keep filling us in with these recommendations. The more you guys give feedback to us on Instagram and Twitter at Fourth Down Experience, our handle, the more we're just going to keep on putting out industry tips. 4 to 5 minutes of your time to listen to us here to give free advice, totally worth it. So today, we're going to be talking about how to tilt your ball on a field goal, how to tilt your ball on a kickoff, and maybe even a little bit of a tilt on your punts and the way you should drop it and all that. So first off, we're going to talk about field goals. It's pretty easy. For me personally, Chris, what I teach my guys is I'm a straight up and down guy. I don't like a ball tilted to the left at all. If I'm a right-footed kicker, I like that thing straight up and down. If a kicker really likes to do a hardcore tilt to the right, I may be lenient with him and give him a little bit of a tilt to the right just because he's so used to doing a hardcore tilt. But I have to see a good ball, and I have to see 3 balls in a row that look well. So for me, I'm a pure straight up and down guy. That way I know that it's not the ball, it's you. If you're messing up, it's on you. It's not because you tilted the ball the wrong way, etc. So what about you, Chris? What's your preference when you're coaching kids and or kicking?
Well, I teach it both ways. I think there is a correlation with ball tilt and your foot angle. So obviously, if that ball is straight up and down or slightly tilted away from you, there's a correlation with the foot angle. Whether it's pointed at a certain angle or direction as well as being inverted. So I personally had a preference when I kicked to have a little bit of a ball tilt up and down, but a little bit away. So I never leaned it back. So I did like the tilt. It's ultimately kind of what works best for the kicker too, but it's a correlation of that foot angle as well. So if you're not striking it right with your foot, you're not going to get a great end-over-end rotation as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. One thing that drives me nuts is seeing a guy that may have a slight tilt to the right, and he's at 35 yards. And next thing you know, when we get back to 47, 48, he has that thing 2 inches more to the right. He's tilting it even more. So why are you doing that, man? He's like, oh, if I tilt it more to the right, I'm going to get under it more and kick it farther. And I'm just like, dude, I want to show you the amount of space that you have from the ball to the ground when it's more straight up and down. And now when you tilt that ball even more to the right, that little window of getting your foot underneath the ball is a lot more narrow now that you've leaned that thing over to the right. And a lot of kids don't realize that or see that. So one thing that I think you should do is if you do a slight tilt, keep that consistent from extra point all the way back to 50. Keep that same tilt that you like. That way you're consistent. You shouldn't be tilting that ball to the right too much, going scooting back. Just keep that same tilt.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. It's got to be consistent to have consistent results.
And one thing about leaning that ball backwards that Chris talked about earlier, guys, obviously we want to give reasoning on our opinions here. When you lean that ball backwards, you're hiding the sweet spot more. So it's harder to get your foot underneath the sweet spot if you're leaning it backwards. So make sure that thing is straight up and down, or you can even do a slight tilt to the front. Not severe now. Just if you want to just tilt the thing just a little bit forward, you can too, but not severe, especially off the tee. Some guys do that off the ground. They like to tilt it a little more forward, which makes sense because it's off the ground. But off that tee, don't slide it too much forward.
Well, let's transition to kickoffs and tilt on the kickoff block.
Yeah. Again, for me, I may sound a little more strict here, but I just like that thing straight up and down, man. The more pure it is on straight up and down, the more I know that it's going to be on me if I kick the ball too high up on the right side and squibbed it. or if I got underneath it too far underneath the left panel and got under it and it went right, then I know it's on me and it's not on the ball tilt. So for me, I like a straight up and down ball, and where I'm aiming at to kick on a kickoff, if I'm trying to drive that thing through the end zone, it's about 35% up, maybe closer to 40, and right in the middle of the ball where the most air is. The more air at in the ball, the more you want to make contact on a kickoff, because it's an explosive play, and you're trying to drive that thing with 3.8 seconds of hang, about 60-plus yards. That way you're getting your team touchbacks.
Yeah. What's interesting is there are really about 3, maybe 4 styles of kickoff blocks out there. I'm not even going to count that orange, 2-pronged, old school 1980s kickoff block, but some of those blocks only allow that ball to be straight up and down, and very hard to get a tilt on it. So it kind of goes along with Brian's rationale, is the straight up and ball is really more the traditional setup. However, I've seen a number of kickers try to get a little lean on that ball. Even had a kicker for a team that I coached on try to put so much preset lean on it that at least once a game, if not twice a game, that ball fell over, and we always had to restart the kickoff. There's a new kickoff block that came out 3 years ago, the Jawbone, not a sponsor yet, but the Jawbone kickoff block allows you to put a pretty hefty lean on it, and there were a number of kickers that really liked it. And I think part of the reason people like that ball tilt is that it's almost rounded more like a soccer ball, and maybe they just feel they can get their foot on it a little bit more. But there's a decent amount of people that do like that extra lean when they use the Jawbone kickoff tee.
Well, all right, now let's transition to punts, Chris. What's your ideal angle for punts and tilting the ball, and which way you should hold it and lean it?
For sure. So there's kind of 2 popular trends. There's the trends of punting coaches teaching you to have that ball straight, that 12 o'clock angle. The most common is the 11 o'clock angle or 1 o'clock angle if you're a lefty. And I've even recently heard some coaches talk about a 10 o'clock angle just to even turn it in more. And I like that nose down and in slightly, so more towards 11 or 1 with a little bit of a nose down tilt. But a lot of this, guys, have to do with the weather scenarios. And so the trend I've seen with certain punting coaches that teach it a certain way, they live in certain geographical locations where there's certain wind variables that you see quite a bit. So, a lot of people in the South, maybe Texas, those areas, maybe areas where it's windy, they tell you to drop the nose down even farther, which is just kind of lowering your drop around your hip level. So there's kind of a variety of opinions out there, but a lot of them vary based on the weather. But I tend to prefer the 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock angled drop where the nose is down slightly.
Yeah, what Chris is talking about, 11 o'clock, that's for a right-footed, right-handed punter. He's going to tilt that thing down into 11 o'clock. If you're a left-footed, left-handed punter, you're going to tilt that thing into 1 o'clock. Just to clarify there, I agree 100%, Chris. I mean, I'm a little bit of a nose down and in guy, and I think that just fits the foot well. One thing that we've heard a lot from one of our fellow national kicking ranking coaches, Cody Mandel, who played for Alabama and won 2 national titles there, is when you're kicking into the wind, oftentimes you like to bring that drop table a little lower. That way it's a little closer to your foot, not much manipulation of that ball leaning backwards or sideways and whatnot with the wind variables. So you can even go a little bit lower of a drop table, so that way that thing is just perfectly level on your foot and you get a nice little turnover.
Yep, exactly. You're trying to get a little bit more hang time. Sometimes you drop that ball nose up a little bit more and you get that ball to shoot up a little bit higher. It doesn't always necessarily turn over, but you can get a lot more hang time, and you sometimes would utilize that in like a pooch punt, close range scenario as well. Guys, we'll cover Aussie punts on a different segment, but hopefully you guys learned a little something about ball tilt angles on field goals, kickoffs, and punts. Thanks again for listening, guys. Brian and I are here to help you out. Reach out to us if you would like virtual lessons. We can help you from the comforts of your own home. And we're always running camps together or separately, so we're here to help you out, and just reach out with questions, and we're here for you. See you guys next week. Yep, see ya.
Yep.
Hey, what's up, 4D Nation? This podcast has been brought to you by NKR, the National Kicking Rankings platform. It's the new and innovative national evaluation and rankings platform for kickers, punters, and snappers. Launched in 2017, this camp offers you a great balance of athletic evaluation and instruction. You'll get honest feedback and rankings, exposure to college coaches, but this camp is brought to you by credible coaches with experience that will deliver a high quality and detailed instruction to you. NKR offers an active social media platform that will give you proper exposure to all the collegiate outlets. This camp was developed by Brian Jackson, Chris Hughesby, and Tom Feely using a proven camp format from the last 7 to 8 years that specialists have come to love. Many of the specialists have received opportunities to play at all collegiate levels, including Power 5 conferences. If you'd like to attend an upcoming camp this offseason, visit www.nationalkickingrankings.com and check out the camps page. Or follow us on social media on Twitter at NKR_camps. That's NKR_camps. Or on Instagram at National Kicking Rankings to learn more about us and follow our growth. Come see what all the hype is all about and check out nationalkickingrankings.com.
Thank you for listening to the Fourth Down Experience. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fourth Down Experience.